Hey, what's up, everybody? Love and light. Hope you're feeling balanced and beautiful today. This is Truth and Light. And we back at it again, man. I just want to say today, wake up and unlock that consciousness that they have been distracting us from. Stay awake and keep that consciousness that they have been distracting us from. I always like to say it every day. There's another day, another opportunity. What does that mean? Another day, another opportunity. It's just to say that the future is in our hands and you can always shape and mold your moment to make it better and take a better step forward, right? I mean, we're in the present. It's the only thing that matters. And the past is something we can learn from, but don't harp on it too much. It's always a beautiful day, another opportunity. And it's always a beautiful time to slay duality and end all type of dualistic ways of thinking, end all type of dualistic thinking, period. Because that leads to us not understanding that we're too old to still think that you could be right, and then that's okay, because there's two sides to every story with this dualistic nature to the planet. And with there being two sides to every story, yeah, you could be right, but what about what's left? What about the rest of the story? So that people got comfortable in being right but not correct is what I'm saying. And with this dualistic type of way of thinking, I've already ended that. And I'm going to continue to end that and continue sharing that on this channel, because this is the blueprint and it's just how everything works. You got to pay attention to the full circle of things. And so when you stick to that right side of yourself, then this could lead to a spiritual problem if you don't use the proper type of discernment and really just understand what it is you're looking at. And these spiritual problems are again what's propagated to us, and the government knows, or certain people, governors, lobbyists, people with high money, things of that type of fashion. We live in a lot of capitalism the past 100 years, if anybody knows history. And so these people who have been taking advantage of their money, a lot of them are just propagating things that keep us into this spiritual problem. But this isn't about one religion or anybody's beliefs or anything like that. It's just to say that if you can't see the truth in everything, then you don't understand duality. And that's a master lesson of just actuality, how this thing really works. It's a blueprint to it. So you got to step away from that internal fight within, and you got to really open up and meet in the middle sometimes. And ask yourself who you are, because again, this is about unlocking your potential at the end of the day with all this ending the dualistic thinking and stuff like that. So you really got to be like 100 on yourself when you ask yourself who you are, what you are, and where you are, because those three things culminates the activation of the human potential that's in you, like in truth. And I tell you what, your life does not start until you know who you are. Again, your life does not start until you know who you are. And so, knowing who you are is at the center of everything around you, and how you relate to and how you see the world, your truth and your perspective. If you don't know who you are, then you're going to see the world from outside yourself. If you don't know who you are, you're just going to be a clone of somebody else's ideas, and you're going to be operating off of things that's outside of you. So again, you got to take a sober estimate of these three questions. Not a lot of people sit and just contemplate this, because if you ask somebody who, what, where they are, these type of things, oh, I know who I am, but then, ask the deeper question of who you truthfully are. Like, okay, well, where's your ancestry? Who are the people you come from? Because your DNA is why you move the way you move. You have this memory in you, these innate abilities that come out from time to time, because you've been doing it for thousands and thousands of years in your bloodline. These type of questions is important. Another one, okay, the human conception story. How did we really come to being here? Do you understand what and where you actually are? And if somebody can't answer these questions, then it's it's just using your senses. And I'm gonna tell you what that means and why that's bad, because well, I won't even say bad, but just understand what it is, because you got to take a sober estimate with this stuff, right? When you gauge yourself by your senses, oh, I know who I am, but they can't answer those type of deeper questions. They're really just saying who they are based on their recollection of their senses that they can remember. Meaning like, oh, I've done this in life, so I know that I'm this person. But you're so much more than your thoughts. You're so much more than your stimulated senses, like things you remember you've experiences you've had, things you remember you've tasted, little trips you've had, adventures where you felt, touched a few things, and just had this experience through your senses though. You're not your senses. You're everything. And that's within the spiritual sense of yourself. But just breaking everything down today, just keep all that in mind. And I want to start off by sharing something with dealing with this spiritual sense of self and keeping that animal self in check, because that's what we all have. But the thing with a spiritual experience, this stuff is hard to explain. Like, anybody who's ever had one will tell you it's not really something you can explain. It's just something that, unless you've had an experience yourself, you won't really have nothing to reference. So it's really hard to explain, but it is explainable. It's explainable to a degree. And on top of that, remember the human attention span nowadays, with all the TikTok, all the Instagram reels, all the 8 minutes, is basically where we're at with attention span. We got the fast food, the microwaves. The human attention span is a little past 8 minutes right now, and that is not necessarily a long time. So just remember, these things are propagated towards us. Like, I don't know about you, but your attention span should be longer than 8 minutes. That's just what it is. I mean, if you disagree with that, then we disagree. But your attention span should be a little better than that. But nonetheless, they keep propagating this stuff. And so, how do you take care of yourself? That's what we're building here: a bridge with no gaps back to self, your connection to everything, and this blueprint that you should just have at the forefront of your consciousness of even dealing with these dualistic thoughts, the duel, the fight, picking a side, choosing. There's time and a place to do that, but you don't always have to step into that. And again, this is what's popular. It's actually a football, very Super Bowl-y around this time. Another duel, pick a side. It's always the drama, and it's good for getting stuff done. That's what drama's for. But we got to pick and choose our battles, type of thing, because the battles get things done. And so if you're not choosing the battles that you need to be fighting, you won't be getting anywhere, and you'll just be fighting and feeling like you're not getting anywhere. So how do you really truthfully do this? Let's stay on top of it by saying that, you know, actually I'll leave it. I'll break this down another video. All right. I just had to say that though, get that out. Save maybe the next message for tomorrow. I don't want the video too long. But love and light. Stay balanced and beautiful out here.